hope somebody, this is their fourth year.
Flag, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Linda, call the roll, please.
Mrs. Vanderwater? Here. Ms. Westingham? Here. Mr. Tupper?
Here.
Ms. Dickman? Here. Mr. Jasinski?
Here.
Ms. Saban? Here. Mr. Sykes?
Here. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes for the October 15th board meeting.
Moved. Second.
Any comments, corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. First item of business is a public hearing on the 2020 town and special district budgets. Entertain a motion to recess the regular meeting and go into public hearing mode to hear the comptroller give his presentation and to hear comments from the citizens on this budget.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Greg, you're up.
Hey, thank you.
Keep it short.
Good evening. Most of the people here are town employees, so I got one person I'm going to.
And you got PAC-B you're speaking to too.
And,
What about me? I'm not a town employee.
yeah, but we've known each other how many years? You don't want to. Okay, on the budget, we handle, if all municipalities do, we fall under fund accounting, which means our budget and the finances of the town are comprised of various funds, each representing different areas of the town, and they providing various services. The amounts that you pay on taxes really depends on where you live in the town. It's not one uniform rate. It's a various rates. If you live in the village, and I ask you, if you live in the village, you pay taxes on only one fund. But if you live outside the village, we have a general fund, which encompasses the entire town. You pay taxes on that. We have a part-town general fund. You pay taxes on that. We have a highway fund. You pay taxes on that. And we have various special districts, special revenue districts. So if you live outside the village of Aldenville, you pay a general fund tax, that's general town tax. You pay a highway tax. You can pay a drainage district tax, street lighting district tax, sewer district tax, and a water district tax. That's really 7 different tax lines you can have on your tax bill just for a small town like Van Buren. Now, in the general fund, which is the entire town, the functions in the general fund is the town board, which is seen behind me, the town supervisor, the justice court, myself, the assessor, town clerk, records management, town attorney, all the town's buildings, dog control. This is a good one I always like, highway administration. Our highway superintendent is charged to the entire town, his office, parks and recreation, and the historian, and then the benefits and any debt associated with these functions. And the part-town, which is only outside the village, it's the enhanced police patrols that we have, code enforcement, planning and zoning, and public access, PACBTV. That's what's in the part-town. And then on the special revenue districts, you can see, other than highway, we got 7 drainage districts, 11 street lighting districts, 16 sanitation districts, 9 water districts. So we are doing the finances of the town. Really, you have the general fund, part-town fund, highway fund, and then you got 7, 18, 34, 45. It's like doing the finances of 48 different companies, if you think of it that way. Each one having its own balance sheets, revenues, income, and the objective is to make sure the expenses are charged to the direct exact fund, so that somebody living in Harbor Heights is not paying for an expense in Village Green. Total spending 2020, $5,141,000. $41,000 higher than 2019, or 0.81%. A little bit less than 1% increase in spending. Wages, the main categories is wages, benefits, capital costs, fixed assets, consumables, which is supplies, lights, building repairs, day-to-day expenses, and long-term debt. You can see wages are going up. Total payroll is about 4% higher. The benefits are about the same. Capital cost, that's new vehicles, paving on the road, so forth. Things that are going to last more than a year. Consumables, the lights and so forth, and that you can see the spending right there and how much each one is going up. Two of the areas, the consumables and the debt are going down, everything else is increasing. Wages and benefits make up over 50% of the total. Actually, wages and benefits make up 52% of the total spending of the town. And that's followed by your building repairs, the consumables, building repairs, equipment repairs, lights, supplies, things like that. Debt is only 4% of the total, which is not bad at all. Wages increased to $78,000, 4.3%. The one union contract that we have settled, there's a 3% raise in it. That's the people in this building, Parks and Rec, more of a clerical nature. The highway bargaining unit, their contract expires at the end of this year, and it's being negotiated now. The non-represented employees increased 3%, and there's 2 additional seasonal employees in the Parks and Rec department due to regulations from the county. Benefits, you can see that's about the same. On the benefits, you got New York State retirement, Social Security, Medicare, you can see workman's comp, unemployment. Yes, we do have to provide unemployment in some instances, disability and health insurance. And those total about $800,000. Benefits, well, everyone always asks, what's the ratio of benefits to payroll? And is it 20%, 30%? It's 41% of payroll. So if someone is paid $100, the town is paying $41 of benefits. And that has been coming down the last few years, but it's still. As I said, the retirement, New York State retirement, all full-time employees are required to have it. Part-timers it's optional. The blended rate right now for 2020 is going to be 14.3%. That's the town's cost. That the employees don't pay any further. That is completely on the town's shoulder. On town's shoulder, the taxpayers. Health insurance. The cost itself is about the same as the prior year. The rates are going up 7 to 8%. Our major, OSEBA, which is the health insurance, is going up 8%. The insurance for the retirees is 6.9% increase. And all full-time employees are eligible. They pay 25% of the premium. Part-timers pay 50% of the premium. And retirees 65 and older on a Medicare Advantage plan. Capital and infrastructure. As you can see, that is actually it's an increase. It's $587,000. And the main items is paving of the roads, $475,000 on road paving. The highway garage, our new one, is going to be $80,000 put in on improvements. Our server, our main computer server has to be replaced like next year. That's about $15,000, and the building and grounds department needs a new lawnmower, which is going to be $13,000. There's really a big capital project for next year. We do put money away each year into reserves to buy highway trucks, the trucks for the building and grounds, parks and code enforcement, and the highway superintendent. We have reserves outside the budget for that. Consumables, like I was saying before, that's utilities, insurance, professional fees, maintenance agreements, things of that type. Stuff that expire every year that don't have any lasting value. And for 2020, they're dropping $43,000. It's a decrease of $43,000 over this year. But and these are the reasons. The town put in LED lights that should reduce the cost by $34,000. There's a water leaks. Years ago, the town had Onondaga County Water Authority built some water lines, and the last payments on those, and then they leased them to us. Instead of debt, it was actually considered a lease. The last payment on these leases were 2019, so $27,000 drops out of the budget. Drainage repairs, the old highway garage that we sold, we're going to save about $11,000 in propane costs, heating costs there. And then we have a contingency that we put in for expenses that we don't plan on. We dropped that $10,000. Sorry if I haven't went back to you guys.
It's a better side.
And then our town clerk here, who's also the receiver of taxes, has been using the county tax system. And for that, we are saving $7,700. Now these expenses probably will not see a year from now. You won't see this. And these are over $100,000 right there in savings that really is a one-time savings. There's really no forecast in the 2021 budget that we're going to have a similar savings. Some of the large items that we spend money on, road salt, $227,000. Every time we go out and salt the roads, it's about $1,500 every time we do that.
Just in salt.
Just in salt. Not the overtime or anything, it's just in salt. Street lighting, even though we saved $34,000 by putting in LED lights, it's still $187,000. That's the projection. Road repairs, the potholes, $150,000. Drainage, well, you can see them there, $93,000. The sewer repairs, $88,000. Canton Woods, $67,000 right there for the seniors. Our liability insurance is $57,000. Debt service is also down $41,000. That's because we have a couple bonds, the last payments in 2019. Again, we won't see any savings after, in 2021 because the next bond that we have, the last payment is in 2023, so there won't be any savings on this line a year from now. And I said earlier, the town puts money away in reserve funds to buy equipment, so we're not going out and getting a loan to buy new highway trucks or any vehicles. We're putting money away from our surpluses. And the new highway garage that started operating this year, we will go to permanent financing in January 2020. And that will be a 27-year bond. Revenues. So we've gone through the spending, we got revenues. We got three sources of revenues: fees, shared services, and state aid. Funds not spent in previous years. So the technical term is appropriated fund balance. If you ever listen to the county, they call it this rainy day money. It's really the same thing in property taxes. In 2020, on non-property tax revenues, it's 1.5 million. It's about the same as the previous year. And the big items on here, this is about over 90% of the total revenues right on these lines. The county pays us to plow county road, that's $328,000. Pilots, payment in lieu of taxes was the next one. Park and rec fees, $162,000. And even with the $162,000 in revenues, the net cost and Parks and Rec is about $200,000 in expense. It'll be a negative cash flow of $200,000 in Park and Rec, even though we have that type of revenues. Cable franchise fees, that's from the cable TVs. Mortgage tax, $128,000. That's down about $75,000 from this year. The buildings around here have completed this subdivision. We don't really see much in building next year. The next big one is on Route 48, the Seneca residential development, the old Seneca golf course. And we don't see that taking off with a lot of homes going up next year. State aid on highway, that's paving, and that's two parts of that, $89,000 on chips, what's called chips, and then there's a paving aid that's about $20,000. Makes that up. State revenue sharing is a good one. They call it now AIM. Used to be called revenue sharing. In the 2019-2020 budget, this is for the board too, the governor eliminated this. They actually got wiped out of the budget. The legislature put it back in. The compromise was it's being funded by sales tax revenues from the internet sales. That's how they're going to fund it. That money doesn't go to the counties. It's coming to the towns that would have lost this. In December, there's an accounting bulletin coming out from the state on how we're going to handle that. So that may not be there in the future. We'll find out as time goes on. Shared services, $74,000 is for the assessor that we share with Town of Lysander, and $19,000 is from Onondaga County for a fueling station. That $19,000 is 1 year only. That goes away in 2021. We're only going to get one payment, $19,000. So that's a year from now, that's another pressure on the budget that we'll be facing. Court fines, that's kind of explanatory. Building permits. And the interest income, because we have, if there's any questions just yet? Interest income, that's up about $20,000. We went with a new bank, so we're getting more interest. We are in a cooperative on investing money. We've been for years, which really coincides with the 10-year rates on on Treasury bills. And since that went up, we've been able to achieve better interest. We're getting about 1.8%. That's what New York class is, by the way. It's 1.8% is what we're earning. So we put more money in there.
Is that floating, or can we lock it in?
Now it's floating.
Okay.
Then you got the dog licenses, late fees. That's what people don't pay their property taxes in the first 30 days. So there's a late fee or penalty. We get about $14,000. And we have a land lease for solar, and our, what do you call it, trash, landfill. We have solar panels, and we'll get $12,000 next year on the land lease. The next item on the revenues, appropriated fund balance, it's prior year surpluses, simple as that. We're using $582,000 in fund balance in this budget. Most of it goes for one-shot items in the capital expenditures, the $475 on paving, $80,000 in the new building. the new highway garage. So we try to use fund balance for what's called one shot, so if something happens, we're not using it to pay the heat and lights and coffee machines and so forth. So that leaves us property taxes. And property taxes is real easy. Spending minus your non-property tax revenues minus appropriated fund balance, that equals how much you're going to raise in taxes. It's really a simple formula. And for 2020, it's $3 million, $3,053,000. And that's a decrease of $49,000.
Greg, under what situation would our property taxes decrease?
Decrease?
Like we're not getting that revenue anymore, or it's because we lowered the taxes?
The biggest reason why the taxes are going down is the lowest spending, specifically in the special districts. Not the general fund, not the highway fund, but the drainage funds, sewer funds, they're the ones that had the big drops. All of the debt, the 41,000 decrease you see in debt is in special districts. So we don't have to raise taxes to pay for that. When I mentioned there's a water lease, Canton Street and Conyers Road, the county water 20 years ago built those systems. And then the town entered into a 45-year lease or a 40-year lease with them. We had to pay for the initial payments. That's over $20,000. The last payment is this year, 2019. That's another $20,000. That's $60,000 in effect debt that dropped out, and that just almost that translates into lower taxes. Those other items I showed about expense reductions, you're not going to have another they total over $100,000. You're not going to have, a year from now, you're not going to have the $100,000 in more expense reductions. You're going to have higher street lighting, you're going to have higher payroll. Payroll's probably going to be another $40,000, $50,000 higher. You're going to have higher benefits in 2021, because we're projecting 2 people retiring in 2021 that have health insurance, so you're going to be replacing them. There can be $30,000, $40,000 jump right in health insurance.
You mentioned, as we went along, 3 different things that were about $100,000 that are this year only.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have all that to make up, plus the other things you just mentioned.
I won't have that little thing when I say we're trying to get down to a number that I can say I got 75,000 I know about. That's not going to be there next year. And in 2021, we already know it's a 3% increase on the union contract. Don't know what highway is.
Right.
The health insurance we know is going to go up. Liability insurance is going up. Everything else goes up every year. And for a town, you just do not have the revenue sources. And if Seneca residential district, that new housing development, if that doesn't take off, the only mortgage tax we're going to have is refinancing and people buying this house or that house, not a big development like around this building, like Harbor Heights, the ones behind, Marion Meadows behind McDonald's, all of the ones in the last few years. We don't have those big projects coming.
We need to be very grateful that we have a decrease this year. And hopefully it will be noticed that it's a decrease.
We'll see. Now, one of the things everyone talks about, and this is really neat, if you're a numbers person, is a few years ago, the governor in the state, this 2% tax cap that you've heard about, that was still underneath. That's really the calculation. Now, whereas we have a lot of pressures, we're $209,000 under the tax cap. And next year, I know these guys are going to die, but last year I said it, and I'll say it right now. There's no reason why this town is not underneath the tax cap for the 2021 budget. And the tax cap is not the same as the tax rate. So the tax rates are determined, there's two ways to determine the tax rate. Ad valorem, which is the assessed value of the property, or a unit charge. Everyone pays the same amount based on one house, one unit. Assessed value is really, this is something we have to put in. The total assessed value in this town is $863 million. About 17% of it is exempt from taxes. That's your schools, churches, veterans exemptions, senior exemptions, volunteer fires exemptions, all of the different exemptions. The city of Syracuse is closer to 50% exempt. That's one of the things you always hear about the city. What's 17? We're not. We're nowhere close to what the city is. And as you can see, our assessed values have been going up because of all of the housing. And right now, our assessed value is 4% higher than a year ago.
That's a huge jump.
That's all the homes around this building right here came out.
It's a tight market.
Now, what does that mean? Now, I've already talked about how much we have in property taxes. You calculate your property taxes, and then you come up with a tax rate by taking your property taxes, dividing it by your assessed value. And all that you're doing is, at this point, is you're getting a rate, so it's your piece of the pie. If you take your house, divide it into the total 17,000, your house divided that is your portion of the pie on the property taxes. For the general, which is the entire town, $1.75 per thousand. Our part town, which is the general fund outside the village, there's no taxes. And the highway is $2.92 per thousand. As in just about every town, the highway fund, otherwise it's the highest cost in the town. But our rates have been going down. So if your house, your $100,000 house in 2009, which is, I think, the first year Claude was town supervisor.
First year I did the budget.
First year you did the budget, $2.95. And that is for the highway. Next year is $2.19. It's gone down. And it's been a continuous drop. The general fund, the last 3 years has gone down. And in the per town outside the village, the general fund has been zero the last 4 years. There's been a steady drop on the clock. On a $100,000 house, if you're outside the village, you're going to pay for the general fund and the highway $394. If you're inside the village, you only pay for the general fund is $175. Have I confused you yet?
No.
No.
Doing well.
Just getting a little bit some more comparisons. Inside the village, you can see it's 2 cents down, where on the $100,000 house it dropped $2. And I want to emphasize, this does not include, this would be the total taxes in the village, at the town level. Outside the village, you see a little bit more. You got the general funds and the highway fund. You can see the taxes there, and that will go down on a $100,000 house. About $10, and then you would have your drainage district on top of it, your street lighting district, your sewers, and your water. Depending on where you live, and they're all over the board. A complete set of all the tax rates the town clerk has, and it'll be up on the webpage, and might be attached to the handouts that you have, a complete set of all the tax rates. And that's it.
Any questions for Greg?
Yeah, why do we have to pay for fire hydrants if Aqua owns the system?
because we own the firehouse. We lease and we're responsible for the firehouse. The town board actually votes on a resolution to ask our board to put in a fire hydrant at this location. So there's a resolution that is done. You rent it into a contract with a fire hydrant, so you have to pay rent on it.
Is the a 50-year replacement on those, or what is that?
Yeah, I don't know what.
I don't know what
Somehow that
they're
sticks in my head.
I don't know what they're gonna say.
All I know is you have a choice, you can pay the whole shot at one time, or you can rent them for about $79, something like that a year. And we get 2 bills, one in March, one in September.
They charge interest on that?
No,
Why would you pay a lump sum?
some people do. So I'll put the town did it.
Any other questions for Greg?
Just thank you, holy cow.
Good job.
Thanks,
You
President.
might be interested to look at Greg's budget book sitting next to his computer. It's gotta be, what, 5 inches thick?
Yeah.
With that, I'd entertain any questions from the public that are in favor of this budget. Andy?
Just one question. Is that tax rate predetermined? Because you were mentioning some pressures on the budget going forward, some monies that aren't coming in. We have picked a rate that is less. Should we be able to raise it up a little bit, increase our fund balance and average out pending some of these future pressures? Or is that just fixed by the nature of what we have?
When we do the budget, we don't start off with a predetermined tax rate.
Yeah.
We actually go through the spending, and I forecast the revenues. Town supervisor and I get together, and we hash out things. Do you need this? Do you need that? We may make adjustments to what the departments have suggested. They will put in the request, and we look at them. And then we do look at the projected fund balance. Now, as I always tell the town board, that in this case, 2020 budget is very easy to do. We are looking at 2021, 2022, 2023 already. Claude and I are.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
We're going out.
We know we're going 20 is okay and 21's a little easy,
Mhm.
but I was just kind of thinking maybe if we just kind of, instead of dropping, but kind of dropped it a little less.
Yeah, we look out several years.
Okay.
We don't want to wipe out the fund balance in 1 year, because then what happens with people, you get a big drop in taxes 1 year.
Yeah.
And then the next year it goes sky high, and anyone that has escrow on their mortgage, the banks are now allowed to only keep 2 months of your payments as cushion. So with the big drop, you get a big refund check, and then a year later, you get a nice letter saying, you owe all this money in escrow. So we're very cautious about not having these big fluctuations, but we are looking outward. I mentioned a couple times about 2021. Claude and I have already, we're kind of in our minds, not anything formal, we're thinking of 2021 and 2022. Like I said, our next debt that drops off the books is 2023. So we've got all of that in mind.
Mhm.
So to answer your question, we
Yeah.
don't come in predetermined, but we are
Right.
looking outward.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
But Greg, isn't it a fact that New York State will control just how much of a fund balance you can have as well? Or they look at how much you have?
This is one of my favorite questions. The laws of 2000, that's the New York State legislature, if you look up the laws of 2000, it says specifically on fund balance that you can keep a reasonable fund balance based on, and then the comptroller came out with his guidelines is that you can keep a reasonable fund balance based on the facts and circumstances of each fund. The risk, you do a risk assessment for each fund, and that's what we do. Informally, Claude and I, we talk back and forth. Highway, there's a high risk, so they have more fund balance. Street lighting doesn't need much fund balance. Sewers, you would want more. Older sewers more than newer sewers. So there is no guideline. You do hear things 10%, 20%. The laws are very clear. I got the law in my office because I love to talk about this. It's a reasonable fund balance based on the facts and circumstances and a risk assessment of each fund. And one of the things that the comptroller talked about, if you were receiving sales tax money, you may want to keep a higher fund balance.
Because you never know
Now,
how it's going to
about
cut.
10 years ago, this county, in their wisdom, eliminated all of the sales tax being distributed to the towns. Now, Buren got sales tax at that time. Well, one town, now is the comptroller of it, Gaddis, got over $2 million of sales tax every year. That was wiped out. And that was the big fight over there, was how much fund balance did we need? And we had enough that we cushioned the blow of that $2 million loss. So you look at each one. Here, general fund is not too much other than mortgage tax is the big risk. Highway, well, we were supposed to get lake effect tomorrow night, which could mean that he could be out plowing. That's a high risk. And you don't know what roads are going to get wiped out over the winter, things like
You
that.
get a flood like you did in Herkimer County,
Yeah.
it's a high risk.
That's right, yeah. So
That affects the pension funds in the market too, doesn't
well,
it?
market, our own credit rating, I mentioned that we're going out to permanent financing on the highway. Claude doesn't realize this, but we're going to have to go through a credit call with Standard & Poor's. They will ask a lot of questions on fund balance. How much we have, what percentage of spending, and we'll get a credit rating, big part of it, on our fund balance.
Should be favorable because of our fund balance.
Yes. We've been anticipating that. And we are safe on our fund balance.
And the good thing about the way this board has operated the budget the last 10 years or so is if a department has money left over, it's not a, let's go spend it before the end of the year. We take and we save that in case we have a problem the following year. We have some, I don't want to call it slush, but we have some extra dollars to expend to certain unexpected items.
Yes, about 10 years ago when Claude and I first started, we tried to go to the term zero-based budgeting. Each department builds up from zero. And if one year they don't need any money, but the next year they need a bunch, okay, that's how we handle it. A lot of government, if you have 5,000 this year, you're going to get 5,150 next year. And you better use it all, because they just look at past spending. We build everything up from the ground up as much as we can. So they don't spend it all this year, but they need it next year, it's going to be there. And a good example is Parks and Rec. We budget Parks and Rec as though there's no rain. But if they have to close the pool, or because it's raining, lightning, or whatever, that extra money ends up in fund balance. They don't rush out to spend it because they know it's going to be there next year. And when we had to fix the pool this year, and it's $134,000 expense, we had the money to do it. We didn't have to go to a bank and try to get a loan. We had that money. And Claude's done a great job of leading the town in that.
And we're budgeting the right way.
I hope so.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this budget?
I just have one other question. The county money for snow plowing, has that been going up as a rate? And how does the town negotiate that? Or does the county just say, this is what we're paying all the time?
It's tied to an index now.
Okay.
There's an escalator and there's a term for the contract.
It's a 5-year term right now. It used to be whatever they felt like, but then the towns rebelled. And it's a 5-year contract, and there's two parts. You got a basic one, basic part that they pay, and then there's a severity factor based on the amount of snowfall, what goes on. And a couple of years ago, the county was very generous, and we got a check for $500 and almost $600,000 that we didn't expect. And that went right back into helping to pay the cost of paving roads and buying equipment. And we're expecting one this year. I don't know if it's got, I haven't seen it, it hasn't come in yet.
It's supposed to be coming. Anyone else wish to speak in favor? Anyone opposed to this budget? With that, I'd entertain a motion to go back into regular session.
Moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item number 2 is consider the adoption of the 2020 County Special Districts budget. We just heard the explanations from the comptroller regarding this. Anybody on the board have any questions? Okay, I'd entertain a motion then to adopt the 2020 town and special district budgets.
Move.
Any discussion?
Thank you to Greg.
Yeah, wonderful
Nice
job.
job.
Nice thorough explanation.
And thank you to the departments for maintaining control over the costs as well.
We as a board met with each of the department heads to go over their budget portion thereof, but basically a lot of the work was already done for us.
Well thought out.
We did look at it line by line, but
Yep.
a lot of it was just to explain it to us.
With that, hearing none other, call the vote. Roll call.
Sorry, Greg talked about it. Mrs. Vanderwater.
Yes.
Mrs. Lesniak.
Yes.
Mr. Tupper.
Yes.
Ms. Dickman.
Yes.
Mr. Lozinski.
Yes.
Ms. Saban.
Yes.
Mr. Sykes.
Yes. Budget's passed for 2020.
Do we make changes?
Now, local law now to change it.
No, thank you.
Okay, item number 3 is consider appointment of Robert Bell as court security officer. Entertain a motion to that effect?
Move.
Second?
Any discussion?
Yes, I thought we contracted with the sheriff's office for that service.
He is sheriff.
Oh, okay.
It's just adding another person to the rotation, isn't it, correct?
Doesn't
We had
say-
one guy retiring, so this is replacing one guy.
All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4 is authorize the supervisor to order 13 street lights to be installed in the remaining areas of Marion Meadows. Entertain a motion to that effect.
Move.
Second?
Any discussion?
These are LEDs.
These will be LEDs. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5 is introduction of amendment to the town's comprehensive plan regarding regulations of solar systems. You have before you a resolution prepared by attorneys to introduce this amendment to the comprehensive plan. Kevin, you want to speak to that?
Yes, that's what this does. This resolution that you have in front of you introduces an amendment to the comprehensive plan to address the solar legislation that we've been considering for 7 months, 8 months now. It also schedules a public hearing for December 3rd at 7 p.m. Let's see, it tells us, that we're going to refer this to the Onondaga County Planning Board for under General Municipal Law 239. I believe it also takes care of, yes, the secret determination. There's a full environmental assessment form that was circulated to all of you, and the resolution proposes a negative declaration and lists out the reasons therefore. And if you pass this resolution, the next step will be a public hearing in the first meeting in December to consider the amendment of the comprehensive plan. And right in the resolution, I might add, is the language that would be going into the comprehensive plan.
Okay, entertain a motion to that effect.
Move.
Second.
Any more discussion?
You got it.
We've spent a lot of time trying to make this right and to include solar as a wanted source of energy for the town. And this just makes sure that comprehensive plan includes that into the overall plan.
Okay. Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Vanderwater.
Yes.
Ms. Lesniak.
Yes.
Mr. Tupper.
Yes.
Ms. Dickman.
Yes.
Mr. Lozinski.
Yes.
Ms. Saban.
Yes.
Mr. Sykes.
Yes. Joe? Item number,
I'll come over and get some signatures from you after the
Okay.
meeting on that. The second part is
item number 6 is introduction of local law J 2019 regulation of solar power. You have before you the prepared town board resolution to introduce this new local law J. Kevin, you want to go through that?
well, this is the culmination of all of that work. It is legislation that is designed to regulate solar uses in the town, where certain things can go and where certain things can't go. It also does an environmental determination, renders a negative declaration and states the reasons therefore, and schedules a public hearing also for December 3rd at 7 p.m.
And this also has to be on the county.
Yes, it does.
Okay, with that explanation, entertain a motion to that effect.
Moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
We spent a lot of time on this one as well, and we're trying to make it so that solar is accessible in as much of the town as possible, whether it be roof-mounted, building incorporated, or ground-mounted. So we're trying to make it as palatable for everybody in the town as possible. And this isn't gonna catch every single little possibility that's out there. So possibly down the road, it might need to change, but right now, it's to get us on good footing going forward.
Darcy?
I was just curious, how many other of the 18 towns have a comprehensive solar law like this in Onondaga County?
I couldn't tell you for sure, but I would guess more than half of them. Probably more like 2/3 of them. Also, these laws have been passed Madison County, Oneida County, Cayuga County, some in Oswego, a little bit in
Countywide or
Portland.
still by town?
What's this?
Countywide or still by town?
By county.
Okay.
This is all local regulation. The state hasn't gotten into everything yet.
Do time.
However, if they're big enough, they become Article 10 and you're out of it, so.
Well, I would also add that we have 3 current applications for sites for solar farms now, pending.
Any other discussion?
Actually, they're not pending yet. They haven't been submitted because there's a moratorium in effect until after all of this legislation is handled, but we know of interest.
Letter of intent we had on.
Then I stand corrected. But there is strong interest in this.
Just legal bit.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other
Cookies,
discussion?
in the computer world, they're called cookies that we get rid of.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Mrs. Vandewater.
Yes.
Ms. Wozniak.
Yes.
Mr. Tupper.
Yes.
Ms. Dickman.
Yes.
Mr. Lozinski.
Yes.
Ms. Saban.
Yes.
Mr. Sykes.
Yes. Item number 7 is budget modifications for the comptroller's memo. Entertain a motion to make these transfers.
Second.
Any discussion? Greg has provided explanations, the whys and the wherefores. As we wind down toward the end of the year, I'm sure we'll be getting more of these as the 31st of December approaches.
These are just standard items that are coming through, so.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Councilor committee reports and comments, MF.
We have started working on the revisions to the property maintenance laws for town. We probably will start, we might have a committee meeting coming up in the next 3 weeks or so, but that's yet to be scheduled. So that's the next thing that the land use committee will be focusing on. And that's it at this point.
Okay, Wendy.
I just want to comment on the budget process that the board just completed. I haven't been through a town budget session since 2007. And I was very impressed with the process and organization of the department heads with their individual budgets as well. It speaks volume to the leadership of this board, and a special thanks to Greg. Your hard work on the budget, I can see why the taxes consistently go down in the town of Van Buren. So thank you to everyone. And I also want to congratulate our town clerk, our town supervisor, and town councilors, Ms. Saban and Mr. Tupper for your reelection. And myself. You can tell that the residents of Van Buren recognize the value of this leadership. And I'm proud to be sitting up here with you all. Thank you.
She just took the wind out of my sails. I was going to congratulate all of you not having to run this year myself, since I have 2 years left on this term, as does Ron. You just were, pleased that we're still gonna all be sitting here, that you did so well, and people recognize that you got out to vote on a non-presidential year. That's not always easy. So congratulations to all of you.
That it? Ron? No. Darcy? Howard?
Not a thing.
Doug?
A couple quick things. Can't remember who it was that said the dreaded four-letter word of possible.
It was Greg.
I'm not forgetting that.
Should not have done that. That's quite the point. With that being said, our no parking on streets does not technically go into effect until November 15th, but we will not have another board meeting before then. And if the residents could please be mindful of that, if it does happen to snow, if you can get your vehicles off the road, it just helps us clean everything in a more efficient manner, make the road safer for everybody to get to work, get your kids to school, and so on. Please pay attention to that, and we're out there to try and help you. With that being said, all of our trucks are ready, our salt is ordered, we have all the salt. The only thing that we do not have 100% up is roadside delineators that we mark stuff with. The reason being, we do not like to put those out before Halloween, so kids don't run into them and things along those lines. We are out putting them up. They may or not all be up by this hopeful non-existent snow. But we will continue to put them up. So give us until next week. If you don't have a delineator up that you would like to have put up, just contact our department and we'll get your corner marked for it. And lastly, there was a fair amount of work on this fall, late this fall, with some inside, some with outside vendors, doing some backyard drainage and some drainage projects that we are still trying to get finished up, doing yard repairs and everything to it. There's absolutely no way we're going to get grass to grow this late in the year. We are still going to try and get there to get the yard at least leveled out. This is only backyard and small stuff. But mind everybody that come next spring, they'll be at the top of the list for the first ones to get done, to get seeded and everything, so we get lawn growing. So well, we're just running out of time. We're trying to get as much done as we possibly can, but just keep in mind that, and we'll do the best we can to serve you.
We already have a list of.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
And hopefully your snow season won't start for a little while.
I'm hoping hoping it doesn't start, and as everybody knows, if you don't like the weather around here, stick around 5 minutes, it'll change.
So all the fleet is changed over to plows now.
Yes, we are we have 6 frontline trucks ready to go, which that's what we have, and our spare will be suited up tomorrow.
Okay, the only thing I have is you probably noticed the new sign and the plantings out front. If you recall, we scaled that project back, and that's probably about as much as we're going to do on landscaping. The old sign was delaminating. A lot of people said, well, I didn't see anything wrong with it. If you got up close, you could see the plywood was delaminating and the glue was coming undone, so that was a need replacement. So, Jason?
I have nothing this evening.
When is Lane going to start over in?
They're scheduled to start next Monday.
Okay.
Reviewed the shop drawings last week so the basins could get manufactured, so those will be delivered at the end of this week.
Hopefully we'll get the road cuts paid back in.
Which project are you talking about?
Snowdale.
Our community development project, Snowdale Drive, from Hosmer to Home.
Great, Kevin?
Nothing.
Citizens' comments, anyone wishing to address the board?
Everybody's done a great job. You got reelected, looks great. Like the budget, presentation was good. Wish we had a couple of more people besides you this year, but that's just the way it is in the town. If there's nothing that you want to cry about, I suppose that's a good thing, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, I entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss labor negotiations.
Moved.
Second.
Greg, would you come in? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We don't anticipate anything coming out, but you're welcome to hang around if you wanna. Otherwise, we'll see you November 19th.